Everyone is good. Allow me to share this live with the entourage. I will be 1 second. Copy link. WhatsApp. Okay, so, okay, so, here we are. I'm in my hotel room shirtless. Look at this beautiful image of white creaminess here before you. So I thought I'd just come in with a late live. I've been very active here in Istanbul, just getting up to all sorts, seeing this whole city. Just what an adventure it's been. Amazing adventure. Man, the restaurant scene here has been sheer lunacy. Every night we go out, because I'm here with my mum and then also a friend. And every night we go out, it just gets crazier and crazier and frankly weirder and weirder. Some seriously strange shit going on every single time we go out, man. Last night, this guy came out and he started setting fire to something in the middle of the restaurant, which is pretty crazy. I caught that on video. That'll appear on a future video. Tonight, we went to this. It was just like a sort of. It was a very unassuming looking cafe, but it's a restaurant slash shisha bar, and there was so many people smoking. We all sort of. I almost felt high, like there were so many people smoking shisha. It was kind of crazy. And then this woman had a freak out because a cat came in, and she went completely ballistic. What else happened? The waiters all act really weird. Like a lot of the waiters, I don't know if they're on drugs or high or something, or just drunk. I don't know what's going on, or just strange characters. I don't know what's going on. But a lot of waiters act very, very humorously here. Some days they flirt with my mum. Some days they hit on me and my mate, which is weird. So yeah, some interesting times here in the Bull. And I thought I'd just come in with a late night live, which has been inspired by just hanging out with my friend who's come over to visit. So he's a character I've known for probably about 15 years, off and on. And he's sort of been in and around my party phase. He wasn't exactly in my group. He was more of a roving character, this guy. But I've known him for years, and he's come out. So this friend of mine's come out. Very, very unique character. So it was kind of cool because he kind of chaperoned my mum into the city, which is actually really good. They're both from living in Sheffield, so that was actually really great. And we've been doing activities together. We've gone off and done our own activities as well, and it's kind of like worked out really well between me and this guy. We kind of shared supervision of my mum's activities as well, because it is a massive city. She's coming in her 60s, and there's all these like street hustlers, like they sort of. It's interesting, their approach with everything is just like crazy levels of hard sales, and then going to the bazaar and stuff like that. I chaperoned her through the bazaar the first time, then my mate did, because yeah, just basically because you've just got all these like Turkish dudes just coming in and basically harassing her. So that's the update in terms of where I'm at. I've got another week out here in Istanbul. I did some cold approach on Saturday, and that video will come out next Saturday. And I should also do another session as well before I leave. Probably the 1st of Jan, I'll go out and do another session. Most probably. Maybe even the 2nd as well. So that's the update. And the thing I actually wanted to talk about in this live was overtaking so-called naturals. Overtaking so-called naturals through cold approach. This is a whole thing that the guys who wrote the game, like whatever that guy's name was, the American guy's name, the natural the guy who's a natural, he just gets it, versus the guys who are not natural. One way of putting it would be just guys who are kind of like a bit more emotional and a bit more sexual versus guys who are not. Yeah, there's a whole discussion of what is and what isn't a natural, because that's also context dependent as well. A guy who'd be a natural in the UK might get his ass fucking handed to him in some of the countries that I've been in. And then conversely, a guy who is a natural, let's say in Dominican, or a guy who is a natural in, I don't know, Serbia, they might come into the UK and their approach would, it would kind of like, some girls would struggle with, actually, some girls would struggle to respond. So natural is an interesting concept in of itself. But we all kind of know what it means, basically. We all know what it means. It's a guy who's never really thought about women too much, but just seems to get it. Seems to get it. Never really put much effort into it, even. It just seems to get it. And these guys, perhaps the envy of many men, because they're kind of like, how are they doing this? What wizardry, what sorcery are they using to get into these, to get all these girls, you know, into them basically, and to get all these relationships and all these babes. A lot of people are very jealous of the so-called naturals. Matty, how are you, mate? Yeah, so a lot of guys are jealous of naturals, so to speak. And, well, I'm just going to break this down. I'll break this down first of all with an anecdote. So the anecdote is about me and my friend out here. So he's probably 4 or 5 years older than me. And we've had party times together and that type of thing over the years. My room is an absolute tip here, my hotel room. And he's got like really quite, his social skills are kind of like, his social skills are basically performance level social skills. He's almost like he's really a performer, to be honest with you. Lights out. That wasn't mine. I was just trying to get the aircon off, get it back on. He's really a performer, my friend. And so everywhere we go, you know, he's getting to know everybody, all the markets and all this type of thing. It's quite funny, like he thinks he's got all these mates and stuff like that here. He's telling us every day, oh, my mate on the market. It's like, funny because, like, mate, you only met him yesterday, you know. But because he assumes positive intentions on other people, that's quite good in a sense, because then they tend to reciprocate. So, but that has an obvious downside as well, in terms of, yeah, you can get yourself into scrapes if you're like that. But anyways, he's a natural hyper social guy. He's probably the most social guy. He's a top 3 I've ever met. He's top 2 basically. It's him and my Colombian mate. This guy is completely off the chain social, like by his nature. It's almost difficult to, if you just leave him for 2 minutes, he'll be going to talk to he'll be talking to everybody, and sometimes it's kind of like, it's just who he is. It's who he is. It's natural, right? But it can have a downside as well. But anyway, so he's a good person to come out traveling with, and I've realized that through daytime approach, it's interesting because he would probably have been ahead of me a few X number of years ago, 10 years ago. I started to do more nighttime. I did, you know, establish myself and my self-confidence and my self-image and my feeling, and just having some abilities as well, particularly when I started my own club promotion. So I did establish myself. But I always felt like this guy's kind of like, he's got such crazy level of quote unquote games charm that like this guy's kind of above, he's on a different level, right? But what I've realized hanging out this week is doing a year of cold approach. I am now on a different level. Yeah, charisma, yeah. I'm not on a different level because I don't need charisma, to put it bluntly. I've surpassed charisma because I can just go over to the girl in the street, stop her and say, you look incredible. And just look her dead in the eye and watch that hit her. So I don't need charisma. That's a good point. That's actually the level that we all want to get to as men, in my opinion. And, you know, I'm not going to say I'm there 100% of the time. The session I did, you'll see this in the video if anyone watches the video I'll put up next Saturday of the session I did a few days ago, or yesterday, sorry. I was not giving that delivery on my first approach. That delivery came on my 5th approach. But my point is, I've got that now. It's in me now. I actually don't need charisma. I don't need to charm. I don't need to go and make the girls laugh and all that type of thing and give them this emotional thing that I used to think I had to do. I can, you know, you can, that stuff, you can do it. It's not that difficult to do. Um, but you actually don't need to. You don't need to. There's something I observed as well on the club scene is I'd look at some guys, I'm like, he's not even charismatic. He's not even that self-confident. You know, he just does the necessary things to move things forward. And he's just sexual, basically. The girl's already sexual herself. So uh, it's just a lot of stripping back and getting back in touch with your inner kind of caveman. And so I found this week, like my friend, he's really like, you know, he's socializing and he's really excited to see all these new girls. There are some attractive girls here in Istanbul, and he's like nudging me sometimes. You see some fit girls going past, you know, it's all a bit of fun, right? And but I haven't really seen him engaging that much, and he's even been trying to get wings out here, some local guys to go out with and everything. And I'm just kind of in my mind, I'm just thinking, wow, like there's a human tendency to assume that everyone else has been on the journey that you have, and of course that isn't the case. But for some reason, you kind of assume people you used to know they've been on the same journey, but of course they haven't. And I'm kind of thinking like, who who gives a shit about some girls, you know, like in a restaurant or something, or who gives a shit about trying to find some guys out here to go and wing with and pull with and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I don't need to. I'll just walk out into the street on any given day I want, and then go to a good area, busy area, and start approaching. Just start approaching, just start hitting it. You know, start off simple. Hey, you look gorgeous. Where's the nearest market? What? Yeah. And then have a little conversation, and then build from there. Or even, hey, where's the nearest market? Then the next one, hey, you look gorgeous. Where's the nearest market? And then the third one, or fourth one, or fifth one, hey, you look incredible. And then there's no follow up for directions, and you just get into a conversation. Right? So I'm just doing that now. That's my modus operandi now. I don't need to go and find a fucking local guys and stuff like that. I mean, it's cool that he does that. It's proactive. It is really good. But at the same time, like, should we just cut out the middleman? Let's just go straight to the source. Let's just get straight in there. And so I've realized I've completely overtaken this guy. Completely. I actually think like my old friends and stuff like that, I've not really shown what I can do in front of any of them, apart from one. Apart from one, he knows what I can do. And he started doing it, and because this guy's the guy I'm thinking of is such an animal that as soon as he saw me do it, he started to do it as well himself. So he just was like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. Joseph's doing it, I'll do it as well. But apart from him, none of my old friends, guys I used to party with, they don't know about my cold approaching, daytime cold approach interests, my daytime cold approach experience and escapades. And so, like, yeah, this guy, for example, doesn't know that. So I did like a secret session yesterday. I went out, I just did 5 approaches solo. And I feel completely calm. Like, the rest of the time, I'm not really looking at women because I'm hanging out with my mum, I'm hanging out with my mate, I'm seeing historical monuments, I'm going shooting, I'm doing this, that, and the other. I don't need to think about women that much. When I need to think about them is when I go on a session and I want to go, where's the fittest girls I can see? Can I get in to approach them? Yeah, it was raining the other day. And full disclosure, I do still bottle some approaches. It's a shaming thing in me to admit that, but when I'm solo, I do still bottle some approaches. There was a nice girl I saw, and she went past me, and I thought, do I approach her? I was kind of like, I was slow to begin with. I started the session, and something I still have some trouble with solo is running after a girl. I do still have some trouble doing that solo. I think I'm still trying to be too cool for school. And so when I've got a friend, I can do it. But when I'm solo, it's something that's, I'm creating my own resistance to that activity. It's almost certainly pride or a sense of, is this alarming to the girl, whatever, to run after her like that. She's gone 20 meters down the road or whatever. So that was one I missed. But ultimately, I did still get into a session. I still did some good approaches, good compliments, and it's like a discharge. It's a discharge of energy. I can get out, I can do the approaches, and that energy is discharged into the world, into the girl. Once that's discharged, then I can just go back to my normal life, work, enjoy this city, hang out with my mate and my mum, as I said. Whereas, because he doesn't have that outlet, this guy doesn't have that ability. He's kind of like always looking, he's like, oh, where's she's fit over there, And maybe he's just excited to be here, but, I certainly would not consider trying to find a local wing within a few days of arriving. That wouldn't even be in my frame of mind, to be honest with you. So I'm just like, let me just hit the streets. Okay, let's just see what's out there. Talk to the beauty in the streets. So yeah, essentially, I have overtaken an extreme natural in the last 18 months. And maybe I potentially overtook him before, but now I'm aware that I have in this domain. Okay. So yeah, it's kind of going beyond charisma. You don't actually need to be charismatic. What you need to do is engage and show your intent, you'll deliver things in a way where you actually mean it. And actually what I find is once I've done that delivery, I really don't care what happens. I really don't. I'm not hungry for an outcome. It is truly free from outcome because I've delivered. And that takes me, especially here, that definitely took me 3 or 4 approaches to hit that point. And it's an ongoing process, which is why I'm going to continue to approach. I'm going to be continuing to approach, even though I'm long past the stage where, most guys can't even do any daytime approaches ever. I can do them routinely in almost any city in the world, regardless of the culture, regardless of the climate. I'm doing it everywhere. So I'm becoming an operator, but I'm nowhere near satisfied. I'm nowhere near satisfied. I think I'm maybe 15, 20% of my potential, maybe, I don't know, 30% maybe. When I'm really on, I can get up to 60%, 70% of my potential, maybe 50% when I'm like at the end of a session. I still think I've got way more of a ceiling I can break through, way more. Because I know what I'm like in the session myself. I know what's going on internally. I'm like, interesting. Obviously, I'm pushing myself. I'm in difficult territories. So I'm doing all of this, and these naturals, essentially quote unquote naturals, they're basically eating my dust at this point, to be honest. So yeah, so that's daytime call approach. That's a year of daytime call approach, and it's the interesting thing is as well is it doesn't get that much easier. It gets a little bit easier. Sometimes you go out and you go. I was out the other day. I'm like, fuck me, it's like I've never approached before. Fucking hell! After everything I've done, the first couple of approaches, I'm kind of like, shit, it's like I've never approached before. But then once you get into it, then that experience quickly comes to the fore. So who have we got in? We've got Norseman. Hello, I do hair and brands. Bye, dude. So yeah, I will just basically, people who are being silly in the comments, I don't mind, you call me bald, I really don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. But maybe he was actually being serious because I know that's a big thing here in Turkey. But I mean, that's another thing. Like guys out here with all this stuff on their heads, I get it. People get insecure and stuff like that. But I just think, bro, shave your head and just become an absolute gangster of cold approach. Shave your head, go to the gym, and just become an absolute cold approach gangster. Like you'll be fine. That's what you need to do. So yeah, so that's the kind of summary there. My mate out here, I've definitely overtaken him in terms of forceful, aggressive, no, just confident, whatever it is. Yeah, exactly, skinhead. So this friend of mine I've overtaken essentially because of cold approach. I'm spreading the gospel of cold approach here. It's very important. It's one of the best things I've ever done, daytime approach, because it's like we're just cutting out the middleman. Fuck all the charm, fuck all the high value bullshit. Fuck all of that. Can you just go over and talk to the girl? And the answer for most guys most of the time is no. No. No, I'm too afraid to do it. Emotionally, I'm too afraid to do it. And that's the true answer for most guys most of the time. At the start, you act despite fear. As time goes on, I use different techniques. I use a technique called the lightning process. And actually, that cuts it out. There is no fear a lot of the time. And even now, when I go, it's the more extreme situations that still cause me a sense of a slight. It's not the situation, but I think it is understandable. Like where I am right now, Istanbul. It's fairly understandable why there'd be some hesitancy. So there's a little bit of that going on. But the other day, as soon as I got rolling, I realized that no, it's fine. It's absolutely fine to go and do this. It's no big deal. As soon as I actually realized that, I was in. I was in. I was good. Um, yeah. Do you do cold approach, Matthew? But yes, I'll carry on. Any other people I've overtaken? I probably have overtaken my Colombian friend as well because he doesn't do daytime approach. Um, I found like at night, I went out afterwards. I went out for a salsa night afterwards, and I was kind of like quite nonplussed by the girls. I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. And they were fit as well. It's a weird place to be where you're doing so much in the day, you just kind of don't give a shit at night. And maybe I could have pulled. There were some girls who were coming over a little bit near to me at one point of the night, and I was like, yeah, maybe I could pull her. But I'm at this weird point right now, and it might be an age thing, but I'm 39. I've got so much going on. Um, I just don't actually, I truly don't care. I truly don't care because I'm doing the cold approach as well. I always know it's there if I want it. It's there. I can make it happen if I want it. And I can make it happen from, I don't need to go to a club. I don't need to get on an app. I can just make it happen. I can walk out into the street and I can make it happen. Um, and there's a girl I'm interested in as well who's in a different country. And I just kind of, I'm still in touch with her and I go out and I'm like, yeah, I can get girls here if I want. And, there's a girl here as well I like. And so it's kind of sorted. My personal life is kind of pretty much sorted. And that is as a consequence of daytime cold approach. It was the final stage of my development. It's the final stage. SB, my brother. Yes, brother. Amazing you got on. Amazing you got on. Did you get a notification or something? I'm just out here in Istanbul. I'm gonna have to turn the aircon off in this room. So I'm in this tiny little room. This is at the extent of it. Actually, it looks all right on camera, but yeah, I've just been living here for the last week, and just enjoying Istanbul. It's a really good city. Chase is better than the catch. Exactly. Yeah. SB's got it. The chase is better than the catch. What the chase has done for me, really through cold approach, um, yeah, yeah, just saying Matthew, because I talk a lot about relationships on this channel. Plus, I'm a big proponent of doing daytime cold approach. Is something that's really added a lot to my life. So yeah, I don't know if you do that or not. I'd be interested if you've got any stories to share. Just drop it in a comment. Um, but yeah, just to go back to exactly, if you don't ask, you don't get. Yeah, I can see you've done some. You've obviously done some, whether that's daytime or nighttime. Yeah. But just go back to SB's comment. The chase is better than the catch. Yeah. What I've actually found was, as I've done so much more, it was more about my own development. That's what I found is when you're in that poverty, and this is 99.9% of guys all the time. This was me. When it's either you're in absolute poverty where you've got nothing, or you're in relative poverty where you've just got your little pockets of nightlife. Maybe there's a girl on apps, and you're scraping things together, and that's way better than most guys. But it's not. You don't feel this sense of empowerment really because you're limited to the night out and whatever. You're patient and you play the game. And I actually went pretty hard on nightlife. I would be out 3 times a week. I'd be out weekends for sure, Friday night on the pull, and then 2 couple of nights in the week I'd be at salsa night or bachata, kizomba, and I would be flirting a little bit there. So I was always kind of on, and I did pretty well, to be honest. I did pretty well. I had my own club night as well. But there was something there which was like women were almost still a distraction to me. They were still a distraction to me, and I was still over interested in a sense. I was over interested in the whole pursuit of women because it was exciting. It was in those little pockets, and it was almost like you could never get enough. It was almost like you could never get enough. I think most men feel this. So it's like you go from nothing to getting something. But when you get something, you always want more. You always want more, more, more. What daytime approach actually did to me last year was I got to a point where I was overseas in Latin America, and I was hammering it so hard that I hit a tipping point where I just really I just really stopped. I really stopped caring, and I've carried on approaching. And what I feel it's done for me is just like I don't actually need to shag these girls. I don't need to. Because the fact I'm doing it in the daytime, like, yeah, I can. It's there. It not obviously every girl, it's X number. It's, let's say, one in every, might be one in every five numbers you get, one every 10. It doesn't really matter. The fact is, if you do enough, you will get some girls who definitely want something with you, want to have an experience with you, whatever. The fact I feel so empowered, and I know on any given Saturday in any given city, I can get out there and I can make it happen. I can make something happen. And then if not Saturday, then I'll go back on Sunday and I'll make it happen on Sunday. It's given me a different sense of myself. It's hard. It's made me feel a lot more in command of my own life. And so now when I see hot girls and I'm out and about, it doesn't really bother me. I'm just kind of like, I'll rather just hang out with my mum here, or I'd rather hang out with my friend here, because I know I can approach that girl. Yeah. Whereas before, my mind would be like, oh, yeah, fuck your friend off, go and sack off seeing your family, go and see her. And there's a few guys who've in the entourage, Ephraim at Poole University in the entourage, he said the exact same thing, well, as I'm saying here. And it's something that I think is unique to daytime approach. Yeah, so that's been my experience, and it's really one of the it's like it's the thing that has I felt it's given me a sense of completion in my personal life. It's like done online dating, I've done nighttime, I've done parties, social scene, all of that. But one thing I've not done was daytime cold approach, and I've done it now, and I'm still doing it. Now I'm purely doing it for self-development, and I think there's a lot of guys in the entourage who hit that point. I think Ephraim at Poole University's hit that point. He's doing it for self-development. He's doing it to assist other men, and that's also the direction I'm going in as well. So let's just have a look at Matthew's comments here. So you haven't done too much, to be fair, but we'd rather meet someone out and about than a dating site on Facebook. Yeah, yeah. I mean, exactly. It's. I think most people feel that way. It's better to meet someone in person, IRL, than through an app. I don't hate apps, to be honest. I think ultimately what determines the success of a relationship is the two people who are in it, not how you met. But there is something about your own sense of pride as a man, and maybe other guys have less ego or something than me, but there's something in my sense of pride as a man. I like the fact that I went over to the girl. I just like it. Um, yeah, and then social media, the whole social media game as well. You know, whatever. It's not like the natural animal way of doing things. Wouldn't be picking them from the area that you live as well. Yeah. So yeah, depending on your city and your living situation, SB's got a situation where he's out in the sticks. So for him to do loads of cold approach could sort of maybe compromise his life a little bit. But for other guys, if you're able to get to a big city, it's worth it's worth it is worth exploring. Um, so yeah, so that was just a summary there of how I've essentially overtaken my friend who was a massive natural guy. I mean, massive. And if you met him, it would be very obvious to you why this guy would never have problems getting a chick. Just because he's ridiculously sociable, to the point it can actually be frustrating to hang out with him, because you just like you've got a goal, you want to go and just do something. He's off talking to this person, that person. You never get anywhere. But obviously, someone who can do that and initiate conversations, of course. But I realized, like, yeah, I've actually overtaken this guy, and it doesn't like matter particularly, but it was more a personal realization. The next thing I want to talk about now is how far can you do this solo? How far can you actually do it solo? So daytime approach. So the way I learned daytime approach was to actually get to a decent level. I went to work with I want to work with a guy in the UK called Christian, who has a background in performing magic, and he basically he from a child was stopping groups of people performing magic for them. He got into the space of cold approach and eventually became a trainer. And I straight away, as soon as I saw this guy's videos, he's a lot younger than me, but as soon as I saw his videos, I was like, yeah, this guy can help me. And even though he was doing a lot of performance, he was doing a lot of charisma in his early videos, which I actually had moved past that in nighttime. I still didn't really care. It was like, doesn't matter. He's young. That's what young guys are like when they're out doing game. Let's go and work with this guy. So I went to work with him. By the time I actually met him, he'd already got a lot better anyway. He'd got way better anyway than on his videos. And so anyway, so this guy's a complete expert in it. And then he also formed a group which is now called the Entourage, which is guys who he's worked with from all over the world, and we are all, yeah, exactly, Casanovians, exactly. Um, we are all we're all cold approach guys, and so within that group, there's myself. I've got a channel, burgeoning, beginner channel where I discuss I talk all sorts of shit, but one of the big things is cold approach, and that's going to be the main theme of 2025 as well. It's going to be relationships and cold approach. Um, and then there's Paul University, Ephraim, who's got his own dating channel now as well. And then there's also a guy called Sinner to Winner who's got a channel on mental health and addiction. And he's like, I mean, he's monstrous at cold approach. Sinner to Winner is utterly monstrous at cold. He'd probably get arrested in Istanbul, that guy. He's monstrous at cold approach. If Sinner's on, there's not too many people watching, but yeah, he's so there's 3 or 4 guys in there with channels, plus there's a ton of guys. There's another 15 guys in the background who there's a load of guys who got kicked out this recently because they weren't contributing anything, but there's about 15 guys in the background who are fucking monsters, who are going out all over the world, cities all over doing daytime approach, and we're trading notes. So it's a community of animals, and every so often we meet up as well when we can. And so being part of that community, being one of the people who actually helped establish it, um, and just being a member of that for me it's been invaluable. It's been invaluable because there's so few people who get what cold approach is about, um, who who even get what it's about, let alone actually do it. There's so few people who do it in the Western world, that to be in a group where it's completely normal. Every week we're doing sessions, and no matter the experience level of the guys, the only person who never asks for actual assistance is Christian, because it's his group. Um, but I'm sure at one point he's been doing it for longer than anyone. At one point, quite interesting. Like, I'd be interested to know what he went through in his experience. I think he did get help from guys early on, and yeah. But even myself, I was out the other day and I had a nightmare beginning to a session because I basically took 2 hours to get to the place I wanted to start, and that's not what you want to do. So I just sent a message to the boys, and it was just kind of like, you know, um, yeah, I basically sent a message to the boys like, yeah, guys, this is my beginning to session is slightly fucked. I'm kind of in a bad mood, but we're gonna get rolling. And the guys sent me back like they don't have to do this, but there were some people who were online and they sent me back messages of encouragement. And even me in my stage of experience, I'm out in this new territory, Istanbul. Yeah, starting in Taksim, it was very much appreciated, and it also held me accountable, which is like I've just messaged them. I've got to do a session now. I can't bottle a whole set. I can bottle a few approaches, but I can't bottle a whole session. I just messaged these boys. I've got to do the session. So, and I wanted to anyway, obviously. I really wanted to. I just needed a bit of I don't know if I would have done the session anyway. I think I would have, but it definitely made a big difference. So having my wings in my pocket, it makes such a big difference. Yes, does Senator Winner have a channel? Yeah, it's called Senator Winner. Yeah, check him out. You'll see him cruising around Los Angeles. His channel's nothing to do with approach, but he's a monster at approach, dude. He's a fucking monster. He's like, I mean, he's the type of guy who's always going to be a monster. He's just fucking hell. I'd love to be in a city with like Senator Winner, Paul University, Christian Casanova, me, and there's one or two others in the background as well. There's one or two others who are absolutely fucking dangerous, and even the guys in the entourage who are not the most dangerous right now, they're still pretty fucking dangerous. They're still dangerous. Like they're still putting in shifts. It might. I wonder if it's. Let me have a look on this. Let me look him up now. SB. Yeah. The only thing that is really valued in the entourage is action. That's what's valued, and then also that's the main thing that's valued, and then also correct belief is for me anyway. Having the right beliefs and a right mental and emotional maturity about it is very important as well. But even if like for me personally, I know this applies to other guys as well. Even if the guy is a little bit fucked up in other ways, like maybe his beliefs are not right and so on and so forth. If he's actually taking action, that's what gets respect. That's what gets respect. And the beliefs do also come, and you have to work on those separately. It's a whole process. Let me just look for you now, Sinner. Just have a look. Sorry, not Sinner, SB. Let's have a look if you can find Sinner to winner. What have you been up to at Christmas, SB? What have you been doing? Okay, I'll just look him up now. So there's a slightly tedious aspect of this. If you look up Sinner to winner, no fap. He got big on no fap. Let's have a look. Yeah, Sinner to winner. Just look up Sinner to winner, no fap. You'll see his. Oh mate, when he had the long hair as well, absolute animal. What an animal! Oh mate, he's got short hair now. The old Sinner. Yeah, he's got short hair now. He's looking like a bloody male model at this point. Yeah, but he's part of our group as well. He's fucking dangerous, dude. He's absolutely fucking dangerous. Um, so yeah, so to return back to my point, my initial point, would I have been able to do this without assistance to the level I'm doing? No way, absolutely no way. Matthew, mate, pleasure to have you on, mate. Pleasure to have you on. Glad you could join. Very productive comments, mate. Really much appreciated. Take it easy. Yeah, we did it. Yeah, we did a video. Me and Sinner did a video. Um, yeah, we had a good chat. Um, I can't actually remember what we chatted about. I think it was cold approach, but it was life game. Um, yeah, he's a top bloke. He's an absolute top bloke. Um, But yeah, just to go back to that point, would I have been able to do this solo? Not to this level. Not to the, no way, no way. And I'm actually a big proponent of within the entourage. We need to start actually meeting up, um, because it makes such a difference as we found SB. It just makes such a difference to be out with a wing in the day, just like you would be at night. It makes things so much more fluid, so much more enjoyable. And we didn't even really do a session, but like for hardcore entourage guys, you know, like I'm a real big proponent of that, of us actually meeting up in person in desirable destinations. So we're going to be doing a meet in Barcelona in March, um, which is going to be sick. Um, but even aside from that, a virtual group is I would say a minimum requirement to do this, to get good enough to actually do this. If you're at a starting point where you're kind of like you've never done it before, it's a fucking crazy new thing to you. You ain't gonna do it alone, which is just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Um, you need to get in a group. You need to get in a group. You need at least one wing who's dedicated, who's gonna actually go, yeah, I'm gonna get good at this. Um, you're not gonna do it alone. You're not gonna do it alone. And in terms of do people need coaching? Yeah, they do. They do. They actually do need coaching on this because um, because you're going against social norms in most countries in the world. I do think it's something that requires coaching. And as to say, when I met Christian, I got my first weekend out. I got 10 numbers on my first weekend out with him, and I was approaching. I was actually going in like an animal. From he didn't need to encourage me or anything like that to go into sets or to stay in sets. I didn't necessarily do well in every set. I think the first nine, it was kind of like they were slowly getting better. I definitely found the first few, I was like, fuck me, this is hard. Like really fucking hard. And I just kept going. Um, and that's someone who was really seasoned with nighttime approach, right? Really fucking seasoned. And that's my nighttime approach was also inconsistent, but I'd done it a lot. I had a lot of success over a long time span, So I was seasoned. I had these ups and downs, right? This major ups and downs. Um, and so I knew I needed to get help, and that was me coming in having been a fucking club promoter. So anyone else who's not had those types of experience, you're absolutely fucking kidding yourself. If you're just someone who's like an accountant, you're coming in to cold approach, and you think you're gonna do it alone, I've got fucking news for you. You won't make it. You won't make it. You won't make it. You'll go out and you'll fail because you won't have the first clue of even what you're doing wrong. Um, there's guys we saw in Manchester, solid guys, like actually quite solid looking, look cool, like not they look decent, right? Late 30s, and they were going out. They were meeting up together. They were going out, and one of them came over to Christian and said, "Oh yeah, you're a Christian, right? The coach." And as soon as I saw it, and I saw him, I could diagnose him straight away. I was like, yeah, yeah, you look good, but you're insecure. You look a little bit weak and timid, and you also just don't actually even know what you're doing on a technical level. Not that there's that much technique, but you need to know some. And because I can diagnose people quickly, and it was funny because those guys were getting their asses handed to them. There was a group of them, and it was just nothing. And then me and Richie from our group, he'd been training for a couple of months, and he was out closing. And I went and closed right in front of that guy as well because I saw one. It wasn't to show off. I saw one I actually liked while Christian was talking to him. So this guy he met Christian, and he met two of Christian's students who both closed in front of him, right? And this guy is such a moron. He had the option to join the entourage. The guy was such a moron. He didn't. What a complete moron. It's like, dude, just pay the money and join the guy. You're already out in the streets. You've just watched like essentially like you've watched operators in front of you. Yeah, that was funny. That was funny, but he was out with boys as well, but they just didn't have any coaching. They didn't know what they were doing wrong. Um, Even Richie, and this is why I want to be filmed myself because I still think I'm doing quite a few things wrong. I don't think I'm the finished article. I think I'm like 20% there, 30% there. I don't know, but I still think there's things I'm doing wrong that I can improve on for sure, for sure. Um, so I want to get some filming done on myself. Um, but if you're starting out, it ain't happening. I'm sorry, it's just not happening solo. You need some type of an experienced wing as a minimum. As a minimum, I don't know, coaching is essentially that's what it is. It's an experienced wing. So look at these comments here. So I've actually subscribed already. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Holidays, boss from Sweden. Ooh, oh mate, you're gonna be out in Sweden, bro, doing dog sledding. Oh mate, what a fucking legend, dude. That is incredible. That's incredible. Can you get to Stockholm? Richie's in Stockholm, one of the biggest animals in the cold approach space, who's gone from completely miles away, 6 months ago. I met Richie 6 months ago online. I've met him in person since then. He's gone from that to a literal total transformation. He's already banged like some fucking really fit Swedish girls, but that was even with frankly quite a poor mindset. He's still banging from daytime. You might be stopping in later with Stockholm. Well, I've got an operator in Stockholm. We've got an operator in Stockholm. He's going to be buying properties and stuff there as well. But yeah, um, yeah, that's awesome, dude. How long is the contract? It's a winter contract. That's fucking cool, dude. So you're obviously into SB. You're big time into hospitality, and you want the adventure life as well. Yeah, it's fucking cool. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about on this live? One good thing guys can do, let's just say you're in a position where you can't afford coaching or you're not willing to coach or whatever, or you just don't actually think coaches are very good. That's another point. I would say of the people I see online doing daytime approach, the only one before I worked with Christian, I check in every year or two. I check into the so-called game space and I just see, is there anything, have I missed anything? Is there anything I'm not doing? All right, I check in, and my personal life would slowly but surely been doing better and better over the years. From 18 to 30, just got better, but slowly. And I had breakthroughs, and I was put a lot of fucking grind in. Serious fuck. The only person who actually knows how much grind you're putting in is you, and I know how much I was putting in to improve. Um, the whole nightlife scene is a whole other thing because, like, was I improving or was I actually degrading myself? That's another fucking question, but I did definitely at least get a personal life going on from real life approach. Um, but if you're not sure about coaching, well, as I say, yeah, the only person I would have actually gone to be coached by was Christian. I know I saw the other guys out there, and most of them I just honestly looked and I was like, this guy's a fucking pussy. I can't learn shit from this guy. I'm already better than him already. I don't even need to. I see a few in field and I'm like, I can point out 10 things he's doing wrong just from looking at him, listening to him. And I saw Christian. I was like, yeah, there was his early videos. There was a few things wrong, but as they've rapidly got a lot better, and I just knew, I knew this guy had it. I knew this guy had it. I knew I could work with him. Um, but I understand people who don't want to work with anyone because a lot of the guys who are actually showing stuff are shit, objectively shit. There are some guys who are good though. Christian is not the only one. There are some other guys who are very good as well, who are already doing it as a coach, potentially full-time coach. There's a lot of fucking frauds though, man. So people who don't want to get coached, what you want to do is get around cool guys who are going out on the pull and who are actually making it happen. And if you can find just one guy like that, that'll change your life. If you find three guys like that, you can take over a whole city. You take over a whole city. It just takes three guys who are getting after it. You can take over a whole fucking city. Seriously. So if you don't want to get a coach, get around guys who are good. Yeah, and also do your own thing as well. But a big thing for me was getting around guys who were good. Colombian mate, a mate from Bahrain, another guy from Chef, getting around those guys, and they had my back as well. They had my back as well. We could cover for each other in all sorts of situations, and that was the best thing for my development. Because also it's realizing like in those days we were having a lot of fun as well. Fun is a big, it's a big thing that we're missing a little bit in daytime approach. So yeah, so SB for 3 months, just enough to be on 40, minus 40. Mate, that's mad, dude. That's mad. That is mad. You could almost do a channel, mate. You could be the husky man. You could just be one man and his huskies out there. You could do a channel on that, dude. You actually could do some great videos on that. I don't even know where that would lead to, but like one man and his huskies, my God, that would be a crazy fucking thing to see. I'd love to see that. In my understanding, you're cutting all the fat and get to the essence of it. Simple, but it obviously took time to get there. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is, SB. Yeah, exactly what it is. Cutting all through all the bullshit. You're gorgeous. Let's talk. Blah blah blah. And you think it's one of the things that's fucked up is the game that you think you've learned that was all just kind of indirect. It was that may have actually been harming you with some girls. It actually may have actually been making you worse. And so this is how I'd come back to the space every year and I'd look around, is there anything good? Often not. Sometimes yes, there really was. But often not. And I'm like, okay, fuck this, I'll just leave this and there's nothing out there I can see. I just go back to my mates, cool, and I'll keep going. And it was fairly decent. Then every so often I'd see someone, I go, yeah, I know this is real. I know this is real. But that's not that frequent. I'd say there's probably there's a few guys, maybe 3-4 guys in the space that I've thought, yeah, this I can literally tell this guy is real. And that's the advice you actually put into play and it does improve you. But a lot of the stuff, like the very cerebral type of stuff, totally unnecessary. And just always remembering the basics, go talk to the girl, show your attraction. And you don't have to do that, but you should have the ability to do that. And just remembering that the girl actually, they have a biological attraction to men. So it's a simple thing to remember, but it's easy to forget. And a lot of these coaches, they're almost persuading us that women are difficult. They're not that difficult. They're really not. They might like to believe they are, but they're not in a lot of cases. They're heterosexual. They want men. Some girls, yeah, them, whatever it is. But basically, they want men. But yeah, cutting the fat is that's the perfect analysis of it, SB. And the last approach I did, you'll see if you watch a video I'm going to put out next Saturday. The last approach I did, that was the approach I was most happy with this last time I went out in Istanbul, where I just stopped a girl and she was sheltering in the rain and I just said something very direct to her and it hit and I felt very good about that because it's like can we just drop the bullshit, yeah. Yeah. And so that was my favorite approach of the day. I discussed that on that video, but that was it was a very shit day out I had yesterday, a very shit outing. But one of the good things about it was these sessions where I'm out alone, have an ability to get myself, I call it get yourself into the session. And what you do there is don't expect, even as experienced guys I am, it might just be too much for me emotionally to be in the first approach a new city, bang, you look amazing. I actually may not have that in me on the first approach. It's in there, but may not have it on the first approach. So the first approach, stop and ask for directions. Do that a couple of times to some babes. Then you get used to being in front of babes. Then the next one, you stop, compliment, and then you ask for directions. Then the next one, you stop, compliment, and the next one, you really hit the compliment, and then you just take it forward from there. And so that is in there, it's in us, especially if you're experienced. But getting yourself into the session, if you can just get yourself in there, that's actually really key. If you're with a wing, it's different because you feel more like emboldened because you're with your mate anyway. It doesn't fucking matter. As you said, yeah. RSD Husky. I don't know I know who RSD is. I don't know who RSD Husky is. As you said, yeah, act less intelligent. Yeah. You don't need to over fucking complicate it. It's intelligent men who overcomplicate things. It's fucking ridiculous. It's almost impossible not to if your brain is quite active. You're going to have a tendency to do that. But yeah, simplicity is genius. Open with a compliment. Extend the question, extend the conversation. Maybe re-compliment again, or don't. Have some banter, use different threads. Make a plan with the girl and close her. And see what happens. Or sometimes don't make a plan, you know. It's kind of a vibe, but yeah, keep it simple. And actually, I'm realizing, I think Paul University, Ephraim, he did a video the other day where he said he basically said he kissed a girl on the sidewalk, and so he's taking it in this new direction. We'd actually talked about this in the entourage. I was like, there's a Moroccan girl I met in Sarajevo, and I had a sense I could have kissed her. She was giving me the eyes that if I was in a club or on a date, I'd have definitely 100% I would have kissed her. But because I'd just approached like 30 minutes before, we'd had a long conversation and stuff, we were walking around a little bit. In my own mind, I was kind of like hesitant to pull her because I was like, can I actually do this? The answer is yes, because Paul University just proved it a week or two ago. So that's another benefit of having these absolute fucking cold approach nut jobs that I actually get to speak to on a weekly basis. You know, a guy like Paul, like Ephraim, he's got his own channel. He's a young guy in California, and he's just getting after it, and he shows it all, warts and all, the things that fuck up, the girls who don't get back to him, the relationship problems he has, this massive triumphant fucking, you know, escapades that he has. He shows the whole fucking lot, and I'm seeing it all in real time as well on his channel and then in the entourage. So that's another benefit of being in there. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about? I don't think there really was too much more. Overtaking naturals, the importance of as a minimum being part of like having a more experienced wing, or as a minimum being part of a group of guys getting on it. That would be minimum. And I think getting coaching by someone who's actually who's solid is the way to go. That would be what I would actually suggest for most people. And you don't actually know what you don't know. Yeah, Moroccan girls. Yeah, I didn't find that with this girl actually. I didn't find it. I know what you're saying though. I know I kind of some nationalities have that a bit more. You've obviously been around them on the working for Emirates and stuff. Yeah, I know what you're saying. There was something about them you didn't quite get. I wonder if it's the fact. I think she might have been expecting me to be more aggressive because she was used to guys like that. I don't know. They're not exactly like top of my list to be honest in terms of looks and stuff, but she was nice. Yeah, yeah, yes. Traumatized you that airline experience. Yeah. I've honestly found some quite good Moroccan girls, to be honest. When I think back, definitely arrogance would not be the first thing I'd think about them. So, but some of those educated Moroccan girls, I think because it's quite a hierarchical society, the educated ones, I know what you're saying. I've met a couple like that who are like, they really do think extremely highly of themselves, and they're not necessarily that great. It's kind of like, okay, whatever, you know. Um, but I think it's probably because they're at the top of their society, and then they just kind of look down on everybody. Um, yeah, I think it probably has something to do with that. Is there anything else? No, I mean in updates. This channel now, because I'm doing so many different things, so many experimental things. The channel's going to be more focused in 2025. I'm going to focus more heavily on approach and relationships, and I will do some shooting and social stuff and travel stuff, but that will just be in the videos. It won't actually be like I won't be doing videos like I did the other day, like of travel specifically or of like shooting specifically. They will be incorporated into the videos, but the themes will be approach and relationships for sure. Because they kind of all fits together. You know, our lives are always our lives are ecosystems. They're not. It's not like, you know, if your job will affect your approach, your hobbies will affect your approach will affect your hobbies, your relationships will affect your work. You know, it's all linked together. So that's going to be the. But you do need, for a channel, you do need to focus. I'm like, what, you know, should I do a travel? Should I do whatever? I think approach is so big for guys. That's the thing I'm going to focus on, because I think it's the one thing that you can do which can fucking unlock a whole new fucking world for anybody at any level, regardless of where you're at in life, your finances and all that type of thing. You can fucking approach, cut the bullshit and just get to it. You do feel like a proper fucking man, basically. You're like, okay, now I've arrived. I've arrived. I'm an adult man now. It's a weird thing to explain. And I think a lot of guys just can't do it. You know, I just think the vast majority can't. Um, I think it's something that, like, it takes a certain amount of bravery to even admit, you know what, I'm just not where I want to be here. It takes a level of bravery and honesty to say that. I think a lot of guys just live in denial. Yeah, you got the naturals and stuff like that, but that's not most guys. Most guys just live in denial. They live in confusion and denial, and they start going down this fucking red pill fucking bullshit, you know. And that just fucks them up even more, because then they become bitter and resentful. So it's a weird space, and I think the more people are out there making good quality content, guys who are actually in the field, going out, doing sessions, making improvements. I think cold approach is just one thing that can have a massive impact on people's lives. So that's going to be the focus, and I'll incorporate the travel and the shooting and maybe gym stuff. I'll incorporate that alongside the approach videos. Yeah, it's an art form, challenging word for most of us, but rewarding. Yeah, an art form is a good way of putting it. So it's definitely there's something to it. There's something to it. Um, I think it's a good. There's something like I went on a session the other day, yesterday, and because I've been like around my mum and my mate a little bit, and there's sort of, you know, just interesting dynamics and so on. There's something about going out to do a cold approach session that just, it's a release. It's a release. It also gives you a release. Just being in the presence of beauty and just expressing yourself towards that beauty. I don't think that's ever going to get old. I don't think it's ever going to get old. And then even, you know, the first few approaches, a little bit of a challenge, you know. I wanted to do an approach on a kind of open front restaurant. I wanted to approach a table of three girls from the street. It was pissing it down. And I wanted to approach, and I said to the boys, I'm going to go and do this kamikaze approach. And I actually did bottle it the other day. That last one I did. Honestly, mainly because the girls just weren't that fit. I just didn't actually feel motivated. I saw them from a distance, I thought they were fit, but I wasn't actually motivated. But things like that, like a fucking kamikaze approach like that, is fucking cool, man. It's fucking cool. And the development is also, I might not get the girl this week, I might not get her next week. But if I just keep going, one of these days, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna roll in, and I'm gonna bend over a police officer and just like shag a female police officer, like in the, I don't know, the bathroom or something. Like one of these days, or meet my wife, whatever it is, it's gonna happen. And but the reason it will happen is because I've been consistent, development. Um, yeah, interesting world. Yeah, I think cold approach really enhances your ecosystem. It enhances your ecosystem. But I mean, I've noticed, for example, like financially, I've looked at it in the last 3, 4 years, and I'm like, this is with relationships I've had. One of my exes she's still in Madrid, and it in the end it didn't work out because I was traveling and she was staying in one place, which also happens to be the most expensive city in Spain. It's one of the most expensive cities in Europe. And so I'm like, it doesn't make sense for me, like, to keep coming to, like, what am I going to do? Go move in with you in your city and just like waste the fact I've got this remote income? Doesn't make any sense. But essentially, I looked at it when that relationship ended, and I did think to myself, hmm, if I was earning a lot of money, some of these questions that I have with this girl, some of them actually would just be answered. Just be like, whatever, I can fly you out to some places sometimes, but I can't just fly you out whenever I want, you know. And so I kind of did realize, I was like, my ecosystem, like on the financial front, if I had a higher financial level, that actually could potentially benefit my relationship. I've got this international relationship that could really benefit that. Um, and then maybe like your financial level's higher, then you could hire a personal trainer or a chef or something. It's all these different things. And like if you go to the gym and your physical shape, that might that actually very would likely improve your energy at work. And then your physical shape will also improve you with women a little bit. And then your cold approach is going to improve your confidence everywhere. So it's this ecosystem. It really is like an ecosystem where everything is kind of complementing each other. Um, and if there's a limit on your relationship, the real limit might not even be in the relationship. The real limit might be your living situation. The real limit might be your level of like health and fitness. The real limit might be something else, from a different part of your life, because it is a kind of ecosystem. It's not too complex in my opinion. I think it's fairly obvious. It's just an interesting way of like conceptualizing things. Um, yeah, that's just for me anyway. That's just for me. Different for different. Maybe different people don't see it like that, but that's how I see it. That's how I experience it. Um, so I've got one more week in the Bull in Istanbul. I'm here till Friday. Um, I'm here till Friday, and I think the plan is to go to Skopje on Friday. I still don't know where I'm going to be living 6 days from now. Essentially, 6 days from now, I don't even know where I'm going to be. It's fucking ridiculous, ridiculous way of life. But I'm super cool with it. Um, Most probably Skopje. I'm missing that place. I was there 2 years ago. I've been longing to get back. There's something about it I just can't explain. I don't even know why I like it so much. I just love that place. Um, so that's most likely going to be the location. And remaining stuff to do, just hang out with the fam tomorrow. And I will go and do one more approach session. And I probably will go to the range again, maybe even combine that on the same day. Um, and that's pretty much that'll be me done for Istanbul. Yes, there's attractive girls, yeah. I'll be interested to see how I am now compared to how I was a couple of years ago before I'd actually done any real practice. I did make some attempts, but I hadn't really done any practice. Um, I remember speaking to a girl in a shop, tried to get her number. It didn't pan out, but she definitely liked it. But it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, yeah. The girls were very leggy and slim. Yeah, yeah. Skopje girls were fucking fit, dude. Were fit. Um, for me, there's like I think basically I want one last European girl for the road. One last European experience, just a little dalliance with a European girl. I know my fate is going to be with a Latina. I just know it. But I think just one last little experience before closing the door on Europe, I think will be really cool. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with it. But that's most likely going to be the place I'll be logging in from next. And as I say, I'll be putting up some videos. Just yeah, just there's not like too much editing to do and stuff on my videos, but I just want to just do a couple of things like labeling the locations and shit like that when I've got some time. Um, yeah, so we'll be winding things down here. So yeah, SB, thanks very much for joining, man. Thanks very much for joining. And the Sweden thing sounds fucking cool, dude. Like especially if you can make some cash, like get yourself out there, just make some. I mean, you could have a real adventurous kind of lifestyle where you travel around from place to place. If you can find another contract somewhere else for like the summer, you do winter in Sweden and then you do a summer somewhere else, like, some other hospitality thing or adventure thing. I don't fucking know. Um, you're the type of guy I know you're the type of guy who's just like, you do a job that no one else be willing to do. You just go, yeah, what's that? How much does that pay? Yeah, I'll fucking do it. Um, Yeah, getting out of the financial rut. Yep. But this is it because the ecosystem is like once you sort your finances out or you start to make progress there, I think it does make things easier with girls. Not so much that they need, a guy who's a millionaire. It's just like you just want to be like, I've got my own place here. I'm comfortable here. Like whatever. It does make a difference. It definitely makes a difference. Um, I'll be making even more focus next year, 2025, on the finances. Um, I mean, I am anyway focused on it, but like I'll be making more progress. I think I'm gonna read the last book I'm gonna read, The Bridge on the Dream. I've not finished it yet, but I think after that I'm gonna actually go, you know what? Stop reading fiction. Stop. I mean, not that it's not that big a distraction, but just focus, just read business books and just keep working, working, working. I think that's what's going to pay dividends in 2025. So yeah, I can't see any more comments through, so I'm going to log out there. SB, thank you very much for joining, mate. Keep me posted either on these lives or even on Instagram. Just keep me posting on what you're up to, and if you are able to start a little mini YouTube channel where you just fucking show what you're doing with the Huskies, that would be awesome. Or on your Instagram. Um, I've really thought actually about I've really thought about going back to Bosnia next summer. The little intel that we got some intel. You gave me some intel, but I there was something about Bosnia I really did. Bosnia and Serbia, like they're they're similar but different. I really liked the yin and yang of the two. I really enjoyed it. Um, I've definitely got a soft spot for Bosnia for sure, for sure. Um, I don't know what it was. I'd have happily stayed there if I'd not already planned to come here for Christmas and stuff. I would have definitely happily stayed there another month before going somewhere else. Cool place, man. And we've got a specific city as well. we, I might go back and revisit based on some of our intelligence. Yeah, yeah, it was really good. To be honest, mate, I would really love to see you. I mean, you're like you're just an interesting character. You know, I can tell you've broken away from a lot of things, and it's like, yeah, guys who are like that, we do need to stick together. And then, yeah, in terms of pickup and stuff like that, I think for you, get the finances and career back on track again, and get some focus there, and then the pickup will come swiftly after that. But yeah, oh mate, you could be a legit monster, dude. To be honest, I can already tell you've got everything there. You've got everything there. Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, because for example, there's guys that I would go out with and like long-term wings who in that open that I did with those two that we met probably would have struggled quite a lot more than you because they're not used to doing anything in the day. You basically after about a few minutes you were able to take over for a bit, you know. So all you would really need to do is just start to work on the opens a little bit, and then you're absolutely fucking sweet, dude. So yeah, and then just getting used to it. But yeah, exactly. Now you don't have that much to. There's just there's just a few things you would want to practice. Um, yeah. So if we get to liaise at some point, we could do a little course. What's PF grief? Mm, missing out on this is in my life. Yeah. Yeah. Waves of grief. Mm. I can see that. One thing I would say though is with girls and approach and all that type of thing, as I mentioned on the ecosystem, I noticed earlier in my life, in my early 30s, 27 to like early 30s, man, like it was a process, but there were times where I was like, I was I was almost fucking up my career because of all the nightlife and the chasing girls and stuff like that. I mean, the amount I was chasing was just ridiculous, and it had a detrimental impact, for sure. Had a detrimental impact on my career, for sure. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. I didn't give a shit, because I was like, I'm only young once. I don't give a shit. Um, but there is a balance to that, man. There's a balance to that, and I think one thing that I realized in this year is you're never going to have enough women. You could shag every girl in Bosnia. Oh, you never had a girlfriend. Interesting. Mate, we'll get you a girlfriend. 100%. 100%. You've actually got like you probably don't. So people can't see their own potential. Even I can't myself at times. I know what my potential overall is, but there's times and I'm like, I can't see my own potential in this particular field. I have to try and step back and remind myself, I can see your potential. Yeah, you won't have problem getting a girlfriend. You won't. I mean, yeah, interesting. Well, I'll stay on for a little bit. When you say insecurities, what were the insecurities? You don't have to share if you don't want to, because it's interesting. A lot of guys get into daytime approach and stuff, and I didn't realize this when I got into it. I'm gonna be lying down here. But I didn't realize this when I got into it, but a lot of guys have got major insecurities who get into daytime approach. I'm just a dirty bastard. I just wanted to get laid from girls in the day. I wanted to stop going to clubs. So the insecurities were like, I, I honestly didn't really have any. If I'm if I'm being honest, that sounds really arrogant, but I'm like, I don't I don't accept society's. I don't accept anything other than what I want to do. So my insecurities weren't that big. I had definitely had fear. I definitely had fear about approaching in the broad daylight, 100%. that was like a primal fear. But I don't know if that was based on insecurity. And I think most insecurities in daytime approach are like you're basically just afraid. You're basically just afraid. And your mind makes up something. Oh, you're too short, you're too bald, your nose is weird, you're this, that, and the other. Basically, all of that, those reasons, they're not even real insecurities. You're just basically fucking scared. That's all it actually comes down to. Oh yeah, mostly upbringing and stuff. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so won't go into anything on public, but yeah. One thing I'd say as well on this might be quite it's a good thing to take away. Girls are fine with you having insecurities, man. Girls are fine with guys having insecurities about a few things. As long as it's not like, as long as it's not, shall we say, like, as long as you can function, you know, and even some guys who can't. There's girls who still date guys who can't even function. Um, but you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be perfect. There's some guys in the entourage who are like, let me give you an example. Like my friend out here who's a hypersocial guy, and his life is like pretty. He's only just getting his life on track at like 45 years old. And I've got another friend, my friend out in the DR. He's a musician. He's banged over 1,000 women, which is sick. About 300 of them, in fairness, have been prostitutes. But he just will just shag anything. So he doesn't really care if he has to pay for it. If it's there, he'll pay for it. If he if it's not, then he doesn't have to pay for whatever. He's one of the most he's one of the most like completely dysfunctional people I've ever seen. He's very talented and he's very self-confident, but he's completely fucking dysfunctional. So I don't know. I just don't. I think like we don't have to worship people just if they're like good with chicks and stuff. It's not really necessary. Yeah, the fear, dude. It's mostly fear. It's mostly fear. I know this because I'm seasoned and I still go out. Like I went out solo yesterday, and I'm still like, fuck. I'm just afraid. I'm just afraid still. That's fine. I know how to get myself into the session, and then once I'm in, that's cool. And then that just fades away. I think there's an element of like, especially in daytime approach, I go, well, I'm actually confronting those fears. Everyone other guys going past, and they probably want to approach the girl as well, but they were just way too scared. At least I confront it and I'm aware of it. Okay, I'm scared on that one. Let's go for the next one. So yeah, most of our insecurities are just fear. I really don't like the insecurities and stuff like that. I just don't buy that as an excuse too much, to be honest. And I think a lot of guys are getting brainwashed into getting more insecurities. Like, oh, you need to be like, brother, I'm bald, I'm not tall. Do you know what I mean? I look decent, but it's like I just don't accept that those are bad things. Like whatever. This is not for you specifically. This is for anyone who watches this afterwards at a later date. There's no there's no standard. There's no objective standard. You need to be this. You need to be that. Like really, there really is no objective standard at all. And some girls like who are hot have got like a super guy who's like a perfect 10, on every quote unquote perfect 10. Some girls who are absolutely banging have got guys who you just like, what's going on here, and vice versa. Uh, yeah. Um, I'm personally finding like for me now as I'm getting older, I'm like, I'm much more care. A girl's got to be fit, but I really do care more about personality now, vibes. Um, it's not like a cop out. Obviously, she's got to be fit, but um, yeah, yeah. I'm winding it down, mate. I'm winding it down. I don't want to fall asleep on a live. That'd be pretty hilarious if I did that. People just watching me snoring. But yeah, no worries, bro. No worries. Yeah, get off, mate. I will. I'll leave the live there. That's actually probably a good suggestion. Um, before I fucking start blathering on too much. Take it easy, brother. We'll catch up when we catch up. But have an amazing new year. guess drink some rakia. Drink some rakia for me. I'll see if I can get myself on a. What am I gonna do here? Probably gonna go do salsa or something. Watch the fireworks. Go do salsa. And then 2025 is gonna be fucking. 2025 is gonna be fucking awesome. So yeah, I'll catch you in 2025, man.